This is the Grizzly G0656P Polar Bear series. It is an 8-inch joiner with 3 horsepower motor, and I've added the helical head to it. And let's go into that just a little bit and describe what it took to put that in.
Yeah, it's not assembled again. After I ran it for a while with the standard cutter heads on it, you can see those lines as they go across. That's at a relatively slow speed. Now if I could slow it down more, that would look better. But you can see the kind of toothy marks that go across there. I'm too impatient in milling to have to push it really super slow to get a really nice finish on this. Because I saved so much on this initial purchase, I went ahead and pulled the trigger on the Shelix head and this bad boy. Look at that. There she is. So what I did do is I've already removed the old one. Removed the old ones with the bearings, and I ordered new bearings because I could tell these weren't going to come off very easily. So I just said, you know what, let's not mess around with it because I can't reuse them. If I really torqued on them, I'm going to probably damage them in the process of removing them. So I ordered new bearings, which just came in. And so I am going to reassemble this with the new head. Yes, and look at that, they're induxible. As they wear on the leading edge, you can rotate them 90 degrees and pick up a new cutting surface. You can do that 4 times. These cutters are going to last considerably longer than what the high-speed steel ones will. It'll leave a much glassier and smoother surface. Plus, these are on a true helix. So that entire surface will slice as opposed to hammer the steel or the wood square. Each one of them, they're set on an angle, but that edge, as the helix passes over it, represents a true diameter. That will be an awesome thing, so I'm going to go ahead and assemble this. And I was just getting a tremendous amount of debris coming out on this side of the joiner. I was dumping all over the floor, and it was just a huge mess. In fact, it seemed almost as much of it was ending up there than was going through the dust port. There was quite a bit, and I always had a mess to clean up. So what I did try to do was I put a piece of tape over this gap here between the 2 dovetails. See down in there? To block that, and that really stopped it. I'm going to drill and tap and put a piece of mylar or plastic there just to block it. Just need to redirect these chips as that wheel turns, this way. It's knocking those chips down into that area and blowing out the inside. I just need to block that somehow, just so that all the chips go down here into the dust collection, and we're done. And then load this bad boy up. Alright, I kind of cheated you out of seeing this, but I just was listening to the radio as I was putting it together, and then I just did it. Hanging off this, on the bottom of this bearing block here, there's a stud that threads into the back of it that goes all the way down through this casting, all the way down underneath there with a lock washer. So basically you just feed that through there. I did clean up the bearing surfaces on this casting here to make sure there wasn't any debris or paint residue or anything like that. Just cleaned it up, and I did that on both sides. Now what I'm going to do is, based on their direction and their videos, so I'm going to raise the outfeed table up, and then start checking across to the body of this helical spiral head. And I'm seeing 2/1000ths. So 2/1000ths of an inch over that. I'm pretty good with that for woodworking. We are going to wrap this bad boy up and give her a test whirl in a little bit. Got the fence on, tightened down, got the cutter head guard set up. And that is good. That's good. That is as smooth as a baby's butt. It's like glass.
This isn't the nicest specimen of wood. You can see where the wood's splitting out, but that is really, really nice. And quiet. Let's talk about the controls. First of all, the on-off switch, which is I like right where it's at. It's easy to reach. It's got a nice paddle. Works well. Good position for it right there. The in-feed table control is there. And the lock for it is back there. The out-feed table adjustment is there. And likewise, it has a small locking feature on the back. For the fence system, there is a lateral adjustment. This is the locking mechanism, and this runs the rack and pinion port to starboard. This handle here locks the tilt, and to do that you need to release this lever here and flip that up. This locks it into a 90-degree position. That is a preset. Once it's adjusted, you just leave it alone. This is for the 45-degree adjustment. So you flip this out of the way, and then the fence will tip back to a 45-degree angle and locks in there. I always check the fence for squareness whenever I take it out of square, and before I get into a lot of milling where I need to make sure it's absolutely square. Dust collection has been somewhat of a challenge. There are some openings, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But by adding some tape and sealing up some areas on it, it seems to have been taken care of. One feature that's handy but doesn't work quite as well as I wished is the mobility unit, and it rolls around easily once it's set. As you're moving it, if you run over a chip or something where it kind of lifts it, it drops. However, I don't move this around a lot, so typically it's not a big deal. The in-feed table height adjustment could be better. It doesn't scream precision instrument or accuracy, but honestly, I don't really use it that much because I have the table set to cut at about a 32nd of an inch, and I'm kind of a set it and forget it. I rarely ever change any of those settings. Once it's there, I go for it, I leave it alone, and I've never had any problems. Milling lumber, especially now with the Helical cutter head, is awesome. That cutter head does an amazing job. even on some highly figured woods or running through areas where the grain reverses, I experienced very little, if any, tear out. Infeed and outfeed table have remained coplanar. With the head, everything seems to remain square. I'm very pleased with it. The instruction manuals were plenty adequate. They added some amendments to cover things that they had done since it was originally written. So there you have it, the G0656P Polar Bear Series 8-inch 3 horsepower joiner with the Byrd Helical head, and I love it. I highly recommend it. Provides very good value for the price. Of course, I got a hell of a deal on it, but even so, that was a good deal.